Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie, and thanks so much for checking out my pre-K art camp on watercolor painting. Watercolors are so much fun to use. Your child may already have experience with them, but most kids, when they first start using watercolors, especially at a young age, use them in one way, which is they put a lot of water in and they slurp them up and then they put it all over their paper. And when you're younger, of course, exploration is incredibly important. I'm not going to stop your kid from coloring huge chunks of their paper with watercolor, but what I want to do in this class is really go over the basics so that any child who's interested in painting will really have a much better sense of how these are actually supposed to be used. Like, for example, how much water is the right amount of water to use? Well, that can depend a little bit depending on which paints you're using, but there is a right amount in terms of getting color to look a certain way. So we'll be starting with that, with the basics. What's the right amount of paint to use on your brush? What kinds of marks can we get by using different brushes? What kind of effects can we get if we add other materials to our paints? This class is not step-by-step copy me. I need to make sure you understand that. I don't know what your child is going to have at the end of this class. They may just have a bunch of sheets covered with lines and color, and that's great. This is about exploration, about gaining comfort with art materials. It's a lot of fun to explore, though, in an organized way. So what do you need? This is important because watercolor painting can be incredibly disappointing and frustrating if you don't have the right materials. You will need decent supplies for this class. Thing number one, this is using pan sets like this that have the watercolors in individual little sections, not tubes. So you need a decent pan set. Prang is a great brand. Crayola is also a really good brand. Okay, I'm going to talk more about that in the classroom. Please read that before you come to class. You also need more than one brush. This little tiny brush that comes with the set is not enough. You need a bigger brush. It could be even bigger than this. And if you have one of these flat brushes, these are fabulous. I will have all this information in the classroom when you register, along with material suggestions if you don't have anything in your house. And the last thing is paper. You need decent paper. Watercolors will work on almost any kind of paper to a degree, but the skinnier and flimsier the paper, the less satisfying the results. So like printer paper, for example, copy paper, it's too lightweight. The watercolor soaks right through. You can't make special effects. The paper gets all wrinkly. You want thick paper. So at the very least, very thick drawing paper, but ideally get yourself a watercolor pad. It doesn't have to be this one. It doesn't have to be expensive, but watercolor specific paper, not watercolor and marker paper. Crayola watercolor and marker paper is bad for watercolors. Watercolor paper will help you go a long way. There are a few other simple supplies you'll need in this class. I'll put all that information in the classroom. I know this is a lot of talking, but I really hope to see your little artist for some fun watercolor exploration. Thanks.